Hey everybody, this is Jason back with another review, and we are continuing the 11/22/63 series, and we are on episode 7, which is titled Soldier Boy. And we are getting to the ending of it, and I sure was excited when it finally hit November of 1963, because I had high hopes that there would be a lot of action going on. So let's get right into it and see what happened in episode 7. I was definitely ready for the calendar to hit November of 1963, because we all, at least I should just speak for myself. I started off with this series and was definitely anxious to get to the day that we all know, 11/22/63. So we finally get to November, and that is part of the problem with this episode that some people that I've read online that they have is it's pretty much a countdown on this episode. You know, the first part of it tells you that it's 17 days until the day of the assassination. Then there's a little scene and it goes, 10 days and 5 days, 4 days, and so on. I didn't have a problem with it. So some of them were real quick, like 30-second clip, and then it go on to the next day. So I thought that was pretty cool. But at the very beginning, I should go back. In the previous episode, at the very end, as we recall, Jake was beaten up and taken to the hospital, and they didn't know how long it was going to take him to recover, if at all. So in the beginning of this episode, I thought it was pretty cool, that as he's awakening, to him, everything's 2016. He sees, I think, Anderson Cooper on the TV. He looks outside the door, and there's some nurse pushing a guy who he's talking on a cell phone, and so I thought that was really cool. And then it started getting weird after that. Then you see Al Templeton from the diner. You see him coming in as the doctor, and just the room is very weird. You see some of the menu of the diner up on the ceiling tiles of the hospital room. So it was very confusing. It was pretty cool in my book to watch this, but it turns out it's all a hallucination, and he kind of blinks a little bit, and it turns out that it's 1963, and both Deke and Sadie are both in the room, and he kind of fades in and out of consciousness, and you hear Deke saying something about, hey, the football players that he deals with have the same symptoms, and that it may take a little bit for him to recover. And it was, of course, with an 8-hour series or however long it was, they have to speed it up a little bit. But coming from me, when I read the book, it covers a ground of the book is, I can't even tell you how many pages, but it's a lot, about his memory loss. So, of course, in the book you can cover a lot, and they did their best with the time limit that they had. But it did seem very quickly that he gained his memory back. But again, like I said, the time frame that they have in the television series, you're going to have to speed it up. So I'm going to have to be okay with that. He's in a wheelchair. Sadie's taking him out for a stroll in his wheelchair, and he's trying to get some of this knowledge back. She knew that he was there to save the president, but that's basically it. He never told her Lee Harvey Oswald was going to be the one that would attempt the assassination. The only person other than himself that should know that is Bill, and unfortunately Jake does not know Bill's name or what happened. He never told Sadie either. So it starts getting quite interesting. So the next scene, we see Lee Harvey Oswald going into the FBI office, the local FBI office here in Dallas, and he's there to see Agent Hosty, and of course, he feels that everybody in the FBI should know him, and the lady that's across the counter has no idea. So she pretends to go in the back and see if he's available, and of course she comes back stating no. And so he writes a note, which I think to this day we don't know what that note is. There supposedly is a real note that he wrote to him, and that's where he writes this note and tells her that she needs to give this to Agent Hosty. So it's a pretty good scene, little short scene that happened. So I thought that was pretty cool. So now they are helping Jake pack, and that's Deke and Sadie and Jake. They're helping him pack the his stuff at the hospital, since Deke has signed the papers to release him. And as he's signing the papers, that's what triggers Jake's mind to remember what happened to Bill. And he remembers Bill's name because Sadie remembered him on the phone in the previous episode, talking about Bill. And then at the same time, Deke is signing these papers, and that kind of triggers him to remember that he had him committed. So I thought that was a pretty interesting way of putting that. It did make it simple, but again, like I said, it's a TV series, and they got to quickly put things together. So I thought that was pretty cool. So the next scene, they are finally going over to where Bill was, and they're trying to get the rest of the information. So this is kind of where I have a slight problem, but they need to get rid of Bill in the story. I mean, because we have Sadie now here in the picture. She pretty much knows everything that she needs to know. And as they're signing out Bill, he commits suicide by jumping out the window, which was crazy because they should at least have some type of guard or something on the windows. The window's wide open. He jumped down, fell onto a car, and died. So, it just seemed that was, you kind of get into this character, the whole time, and then this is what's going to happen. I don't know what else to do with him, honestly, but it just was so, such an easy way out. Let's just have him kill himself, and then that's it. And the next scene, there's a pretty sad scene. It shows a funeral happening with a bunch of people there, and then the camera kind of pans out, and then you see Sadie and Jake at a gravesite, which happens to be Bill, and there's nobody there, and some fresh dirt over the grave. So again, it just seemed like an easy way out for them, but I don't have an alternate thing they could have done. But again, I'm not the one that wrote it, so no offense to any of the writers, because you guys did great, honestly, but it just was weird to have a Bill character and have him just commit suicide. But and then out of this, you didn't get the information you wanted. You hope to get Lee Harvey Oswald's name, but you don't even get that out of that at all here. So the scene basically was just a way to kill him off. That's all it was. So a little bit weird here, but so far I'm having a good time with this episode. So I can take this scene and just kind of push it aside. Then they are trying to figure out again who is supposed to assassinate. So they have to. He's got a few memories in his head about some street addresses and street names. So that's where he ends up going to 214 West Neely Street, which is the apartment that that Lee is at, and where Jake and Bill lived. And he shows up there, and they go up into the apartment with Lee, not knowing what's going on, who he is. It's a pretty creepy scene, to be honest, because we as the audience know who he is, but they have no idea that who they're looking for is sitting right there. And there's some stuff on the ground that triggers a memory for Jake that this is Lee Harvey Oswald and this is the guy I'm looking for. Then he fakes needing a cup of water, and he goes over there, grabs a knife, because I think he's thinking, oh, I can just kill him right now. But as he enters the living room again, he's holding his baby, and so he has to leave. And so then, pretty much at this point, his memory's back. Again, like I said before, it was a real quick way of getting his memory back, but the way he got the memory of Lee Harvey Oswald, I thought that was pretty cool. And they could have just avoided Bill altogether. They could have just left him at that asylum and forgot about him, honestly. So as soon as this happens, it's right before the assassination, and they drive the car. They decide they're going to spend the night prior, and they're going to go down to Dealey Plaza, and that's what they do. They drive down there, and they're just going to stay there and wait until the morning. A cop stops them, and he's like, no, you need to move away. So he tries. This is where I kind of have a problem with it a little bit, leading into the next episode, the next and final episode. So he's saying that, hey, he knows a perfect spot that nobody's going to bug them, and it's just down the street. So he goes down to there, and they're going to get some rest, and that would have been perfect. Supposedly it's down the street, no problem whatsoever. And then on my next review, I'll discuss further what I think about this situation. You also see the yellow card man again, and that's in his flashbacks as they're sleeping. He kind of sees it in his head, and the yellow card man explains that he's doing the exact same thing Jake's doing. He's trying to save his daughter from drowning, and he's been doing it over and over and over, and he can never fix it. So he's trying to warn him, hey, you're not going to be able to do what you're trying to do. And then you kind of flash, and it's the daytime. And then Sadie's over there. She wakes up, and she's doesn't know what just happened. So Jake's kind of freaked out a little bit, and I think he's kind of wondering, should I even go through this? I think in his mind, he's like, forget this. Let me not do this, and let me just move forward with my life with Sadie. And so was pretty cool. So the next scene, you see a quick scene with Lee Harvey Oswald and one of his co-workers, Buell Frazier, is the guy who drove him there that day. And that's where you see the rifle that's wrapped around in blankets. And he's heading up towards the 6th floor area. And he's going into that corner, getting set up. And that's where he's whistling the song from Soldier Boy, which I had never heard of until here, but that's what the song's title is. So I thought that was pretty eerie. At the very end, it leads into that, and that's the ending. And obviously we know what's going to happen next, but we're going to call that done for this episode. So in this episode, I'm going to give it another 8 out of 10. A few minor problems that I got over with. I had a problem at first, but now rewatching it again, not that big of a deal. So go ahead and watch this one, and it will definitely make you want to watch the finale, which is next, episode 8, and that's what will go on next. So everybody, thanks a lot. Go to my Facebook page, facebook.com/DVD Review Dude. Go and subscribe here if you can. I appreciate it very much. And we'll see you next time on the next episode when we cover the finale of this series. Thanks a lot, everybody. Have a great day.